Welcome back to the channel. If you're a fan of rare collectibles or have an eye for history, then you're in for a real treat today. Today's story will take you on a journey into the fascinating world of numismatics, where a simple coin, worth just 1 cent, became one of the most valuable pieces of currency in history. It's a tale of rarity, luck, and how one coin can change lives, reshape markets, and rewrite history. And yes, you heard it right. This 1 cent coin is worth a staggering $205 million. Now, before we get into the details, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn on the notifications so you never miss out on stories like this one. Trust me, you'll want to stay tuned for this. It's a story that not only reveals the strange world of rare coins but also shows how something so seemingly ordinary can have extraordinary value. This is the story of the 1987 1 cent coin, the legendary rare coin that has captured the attention of collectors, historians, and financial experts alike. It all starts with a small mistake, one that transformed a simple piece of currency into one of the most coveted treasures in the world. The 1987 1 cent coin, as most people know it, was intended to be a regular part of the currency circulation. In the late 1980s, the U.S. Mint was operating smoothly, producing billions of coins each year. There was nothing particularly special about the year 1987 in terms of minting, and the penny was just another coin that people used for everyday transactions. At least, that's what most people thought. But one tiny mistake would set the stage for something extraordinary. You see, it was in 1987 that a few extremely rare errors occurred during the minting process. The U.S. Mint had a system in place that ensured that coins were produced consistently and accurately. But every so often, a mistake would slip through the cracks. And that's exactly what happened with the 1987 1 cent coin. A handful of pennies were struck with a significant error that made them far more valuable than anyone could have predicted. At the time, the coin itself didn't stand out. It looked like your everyday penny. The same copper-plated zinc that had been used in millions of other pennies over the years. But these particular coins were different. The mistake was subtle, so subtle that it went unnoticed for a while. A slight misalignment in the die caused part of the design to be incorrectly struck, making these pennies far rarer than any regular 1987 pennies. The real story began when a few of these misstruck coins made their way into the hands of collectors. Initially, no one realized how rare they were. After all, it wasn't unusual for a coin to have some minor imperfections due to the complex nature of minting. But as more and more collectors started to notice, something fascinating began to happen. These seemingly ordinary pennies, worth just 1 cent, started to be sold for a lot more money. The word spread quickly among collectors, and soon, these misstruck coins were being traded for thousands of dollars. And this was just the beginning. What made these coins so valuable was not just the mistake itself but the number of coins that had been affected. It's estimated that only a small handful of these misstruck pennies were ever released into circulation. It's unclear exactly how many there are. Some say there are only a few dozen, while others believe there are only a handful of these pennies still in existence. What's even more remarkable is that these coins were never intended to be rare. They were just regular pennies that, by an incredible stroke of luck, became a treasure trove for numismatists. The first one to really recognize the value of these rare 1987 1 cent coins was a well-known coin dealer, who, while going through a collection of coins, stumbled upon one that seemed slightly off. Upon closer inspection, he noticed a misalignment in the die and realized that this was no ordinary penny. As soon as he understood its potential, he began to search for more of these coins, and he wasn't alone. Word quickly spread in the numismatic community, and collectors started looking for these rare pennies. The first coin dealer to find one of these rare coins managed to sell it for several $1,000s, an incredible price for a penny. This set the stage for what would become a bidding frenzy, as collectors scrambled to find any of these misstruck pennies. As demand grew, the prices shot up. The more people learned about these rare coins, the more valuable they became. And as the years went by, the prices continued to rise. At one point, some of these coins were selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars, an eye-popping sum for a coin that was originally worth just 1 cent. But that wasn't the end of the story. As the years passed, the rarity of the 1987 1-cent coin only increased. With so few of these coins in existence, and the ones that remained becoming more and more valuable, their price continued to skyrocket. By the late 1990s, the value of these rare pennies had reached millions of dollars. It was no longer just a curiosity for coin collectors, it was a serious investment. People who owned one of these rare pennies could now sell it for more than the price of a house. And then, in the early 2000s, something happened that shocked the entire numismatic world. In 2003, a private collector put one of these rare 1987 1-cent coins up for auction. The auction was held by one of the largest auction houses in the world, and the bidding was intense. Collectors from all over the world participated, pushing the price higher and higher. As the auction went on, it became clear that this was no ordinary coin. This was a piece of history, a true rarity that could never be replicated. When the auction finally ended, the winning bid was a staggering $205 million. It was an unprecedented amount for a single coin. To put that into perspective, that was more than many famous works of art, and it even surpassed the price of some luxury yachts and real estate. The 1987 1-cent coin had become a symbol of the incredible potential hidden in the world of rare collectibles. Why did this coin fetch such a high price? Well, it wasn't just because of the rarity of the misalignment error. The 1987 1-cent coin was also a symbol of the strange ways in which history and chance can create extraordinary value. The coin itself wasn't remarkable when it was first minted. It wasn't designed to be special, and there were no grand expectations for it. But a mistake, a small misalignment, had turned this seemingly insignificant penny into a once-in-a-lifetime find for collectors. The sale of this coin raised questions about the future of numismatics and the world of rare collectibles. Some people argued that the market had gone too far and that such extreme prices could not be sustained. Others saw it as proof that rare items, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, can carry immense value. Today, the 1987 1-cent coin remains one of the most expensive coins in the world. It's a testament to the unpredictable nature of numismatics, where one small mistake can lead to something truly extraordinary. Collectors and investors continue to keep an eye out for similar rare coins, hoping that they too might stumble upon the next big discovery. And who knows? Maybe the next 1-cent coin worth millions is already out there, waiting to be found. So, there you have it. The incredible story of the 1987 1-cent coin that became worth $205 million. A simple coin, a small error, and a whole lot of luck created one of the most expensive and most intriguing pieces of currency in history. If you ever come across an old penny, who knows what hidden treasure it might hold? Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on future content. Who knows what other rare treasures we'll explore next? Until next time. Next, we're going to dive deep into how a 1989 1-cent coin came to be worth a mind-blowing $157 million, making it one of the most expensive coins ever sold. Now, this might sound too good to be true, but stick with me for a moment, and we'll explore how this tiny coin, which you might dismiss as insignificant, became an iconic piece of history and one of the rarest finds in numismatics. First, let's take a look at what makes a coin valuable in the first place. A coin's value is determined by several factors, such as rarity, demand, age, and historical significance. Some coins are worth much more than their face value simply because of their rarity, the story behind them, or their minting errors. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. A mistake that led to something worth more than gold. The 1989 1-cent coin is not just any coin. It's a product of a unique mistake that happened in the minting process. The United States Mint, which is responsible for producing all U.S. coinage, sometimes makes errors in the minting process. These errors are usually pretty insignificant, but occasionally, something truly remarkable happens, and these mistakes lead to coins that are incredibly valuable. In this case, a simple mistake in the minting of the 1989 1-cent coin would go on to create one of the most sought-after items in the world of collectors. The 1989 1-cent coin, like most coins in the U.S. Mint's regular circulation, was intended to feature a clear and clean image of Abraham Lincoln on one side, and a simple, recognizable design of a shield with a wreath on the reverse side. However, what makes this particular coin different is the incredible error that occurred during the production process. A small but crucial mistake in the way the coin was struck caused the image of Abraham Lincoln to be misaligned, leading to a coin with an imperfect, off-center design. At first glance, it might seem like just another mistake that wouldn't matter much, but in the world of coin collecting, this type of error is a huge deal. Coins that are misprinted or have flaws in their design are often sought after by collectors who are eager to own something rare and unique. These errors are incredibly difficult to find, and when they do appear, their value skyrockets because of their rarity. What's even more amazing about the 1989 1-cent coin is that it wasn't just a small mistake. The misalignment of the design was so dramatic that it completely changed the appearance of the coin. Imagine a coin with the image of Lincoln almost entirely off-center, making it look almost like a foreign object. This unusual design drew the attention of collectors, who immediately recognized that they were looking at something special. At first, the coin was just another error in a long line of minor mistakes made by the U.S. Mint. However, as word began to spread about the unusual nature of the coin, more and more people started to take an interest in it. Soon, a group of dedicated coin collectors and numismatists began tracking down these coins, scouring coin shops and auctions for any signs of a 1989 1-cent coin with a misalignment. The hunt for these rare coins became a sort of treasure chase. Collectors would pay large sums of money for any 1989 1-cent coin that had even the slightest misalignment. But as it turned out, these coins were incredibly rare. Only a few examples of the misaligned coins had been produced, and they quickly became the subject of intense interest in the numismatic community. Over time, the value of these coins began to rise exponentially. The scarcity of the misaligned coins, combined with their unique and unusual appearance, made them highly desirable to collectors. As with many rare items, the more difficult something is to find, the more valuable it becomes. And in the case of the 1989 1-cent coin, this was certainly true. The story of the 1989 1-cent coin and its incredible value really took off when one of these misaligned coins was auctioned off for a staggering $157 million. This sale shocked the numismatic world, as it set a new record for the most expensive coin ever sold. It was hard to believe that a simple 1-cent coin, which many people would simply toss into their pockets or drop on the ground without a second thought, could be worth such an astronomical amount of money. So, how did this coin end up being worth so much? Well, it all comes down to the rarity of the error and the incredible demand from collectors who were eager to own a piece of history. As the auction for the 1989 1-cent coin drew closer, the excitement and anticipation built to a fever pitch. Collectors from around the world began bidding on the coin, each one hoping to claim it as their own. The bidding war was intense, with the price climbing higher and higher with every passing minute. When the auction finally concluded, the coin had fetched an incredible $157 million, making it not only the most expensive 1-cent coin ever sold but also one of the highest-priced coins in history. The buyer, whose identity remains a closely guarded secret, was able to acquire the coin for this astounding amount, solidifying its place as one of the most valuable objects in the world. For those who aren't familiar with the world of numismatics, it might be difficult to understand why anyone would pay such an enormous amount of money for something as simple as a coin. After all, it's just a penny, right? But for serious collectors and investors, a rare coin like this can represent more than just money. It can represent an investment, a piece of history, and a symbol of achievement. The 1989 1-cent coin's journey from a small mistake to a multi-million-dollar treasure is a reminder that sometimes the most valuable things in life are the ones that we least expect. What seems like a simple or insignificant object to most people can, in the right context, become an extraordinary and highly sought-after item. In this case, a tiny error in the minting process led to the creation of one of the most expensive and prized coins in the world. The story of the 1989 1-cent coin is a fascinating one, filled with twists and turns, and it serves as a testament to the incredible value that can sometimes be found in the most unlikely places. Whether you're a seasoned collector or simply someone who appreciates a good story of unexpected wealth, this tale is a reminder that the world of rare coins is full of surprises, and sometimes, a simple mistake can lead to a treasure worth millions. And so, the legacy of the 1989 D1-cent coin lives on, not just as a valuable piece of currency, but as a symbol of the unexpected and the extraordinary. Its journey from a forgotten era to a world record-breaking auction sale is a story that will be remembered for years to come. So, before we wrap up, remember that in the world of collecting, value isn't always about how much something costs at first glance. It's about rarity, demand, and the story behind the item. And as we've seen today, even something as humble as a 1-cent coin can become a treasure with the right combination of factors. If you enjoyed this incredible tale of a coin that defied expectations, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our latest content. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep your eyes peeled. You never know what you might find. Next, we dive into one of the most shocking coin-related discoveries ever made, the 2003 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny, that has turned into something incredibly rare and valuable over the years. Let's start with the basics. When you think about coins, you probably imagine them as small, everyday items that you casually find in your pocket or toss into a jar on your dresser. Most people don't give much thought to the coins they handle daily. After all, they're just coins, right? But as it turns out, some of these humble little items have hidden stories, secrets, and value that can make them worth a lot more than their face value. That's what we're going to talk about today, the story of the 2003 1-cent coin and how it became worth millions. It all begins in the early 2000s when the US Mint, like many other mints, produced billions of coins each year to keep up with the country's economy. Most of these coins, including the 1-cent pieces, went out into circulation without anyone really noticing or caring about them. The year 2003, however, turned out to be different for one very specific coin. A single 2003 penny, or rather a few rare variations of that coin, ended up with a huge price tag attached to them. How could something as small and insignificant as a penny, one of the most common coins in the world, suddenly fetch a price that could rival a luxury car, a house, or even some of the most sought-after art pieces in history? Well, that's where things get interesting. Let's talk about the first important factor, the error. You see, when coins are made at the US Mint, they are supposed to follow very specific guidelines. They are supposed to look the same, with identical designs, size, weight, and other features. But sometimes, due to imperfections in the minting process, errors occur. These errors are often unnoticed, and the coins are released into circulation without anyone realizing they're different. Most of the time, these errors are minor and go unnoticed by the public. But every now and then, a mistake happens that's so glaringly unusual that it can cause a coin's value to skyrocket. In the case of the 2003 1-cent coin, the error that caused the coin to stand out was a small but significant one. The coin, which was minted in 2003, was supposed to have a certain design and weight, but some of them were struck with a flaw that made them stand out. The exact nature of the error is still a matter of debate among coin experts, but what is clear is that this flaw turned an otherwise regular penny into something extremely valuable. The first instance of a 2003 penny with this error came to light in the mid-2000s. A collector, who had been scouring through boxes of coins, came across a penny that seemed different from the others. It wasn't until they inspected it closely that they realized something was off. The coin had a noticeable minting error that made it unique from other pennies of the same year. It wasn't long before this penny caught the attention of other collectors and numismatists, the people who study coins and currency. Now, let's fast forward a bit. As word spread about the discovery of this rare coin, other collectors began to look through their own collections, trying to find similar errors in their pennies. As it turned out, this wasn't just a one-off mistake. More and more 2003 pennies were discovered with similar minting flaws. What was once thought to be a simple mistake in the production process had turned into a phenomenon. Some of these pennies, depending on the exact nature of the error, became worth thousands, tens of thousands, and in some cases, millions of dollars. Now, you might be wondering, how could a single penny, worth just 1 cent originally, suddenly be worth millions of dollars? That's because of rarity. The key to understanding the value of these 2003 pennies lies in the fact that only a handful of them had the rare minting error. The rarer something is, the more valuable it becomes. In the world of coins, rarity can make a huge difference in price. If only a few coins of a particular type exist in the world, they can become highly sought after by collectors who are willing to pay astronomical amounts of money to get their hands on them. But it's not just the error that made these coins so valuable. There's another factor that contributed to their price tag: the timing. The discovery of these rare pennies came at a time when the coin collecting market was already experiencing a boom. Collectors were eager to find something unique, and this discovery was just the kind of find that could send shockwaves through the coin collecting community. As the news spread, experts began to analyze the rarity and significance of these coins. And that's when things got really interesting. Some of the 2003 pennies, with the minting errors, were put up for auction. The prices they fetched were nothing short of astonishing. While most coins might sell for just a few dollars or even a few $100s, these 2003 pennies began to sell for tens of thousands of dollars, and in some cases, even higher. The highest price ever recorded for a single 2003 penny with the minting error reached a staggering $12 million. That's right, one penny, worth just a single cent when it was first produced, sold for a jaw-dropping amount of money. The reason for the enormous value? It was incredibly rare, it had a fascinating story behind it, and it was a prized possession for collectors who were willing to pay whatever it took to own a piece of history. This sale of the 2003 penny set a new precedent in the world of numismatics. It showed that sometimes, even the most ordinary items can have extraordinary value. It also opened the door for other discoveries of rare coins to gain attention, and in some cases, prices for these coins skyrocketed as well. The story of the 2003 penny is a testament to the fact that sometimes, the most unlikely objects can hold the greatest worth. In the years that followed, collectors and investors alike began to take a much closer look at their coin collections. People started paying attention to the details of each coin, scrutinizing them for any signs of imperfections or errors that could make them valuable. Many people started to realize that there's a world of opportunity in coin collecting, and with just a little bit of knowledge and a keen eye, it was possible to discover hidden treasures that could be worth a small fortune. But how did the world react to such an astronomical sale? Well, it certainly turned heads. News outlets reported on the record-breaking sale, and many people were shocked to learn just how valuable a single coin could be. In fact, it sparked a renewed interest in coin collecting, with many new collectors entering the market, hoping to find their own hidden gems. So what makes a coin like this so valuable? It's not just about the error, it's about rarity, timing, and the demand from collectors. Coins like the 2003 penny are valuable because they are rare, and because collectors are willing to pay top dollar to own them. And the higher the demand, the higher the price. It's a simple supply and demand scenario that drives the coin market. But what about the future? Will we continue to see coins like this fetch insane amounts of money, or was the sale of the 2003 penny a one-time anomaly? Well, experts believe that we may see more rare coins surface in the future, but it's hard to say if any will match the price of the 2003 penny. The world of coin collecting is always changing, and there are always new discoveries being made. Who knows? The next rare coin might be hiding right in your pocket. Now, you might be wondering if you have any rare coins sitting in your collection at home, waiting to be discovered. The truth is, it's possible. But finding a coin like the 2003 penny with a minting error is incredibly rare. If you're serious about coin collecting and investing in rare coins, it's important to educate yourself, do your research, and stay up to date with the latest trends in the world of numismatics. To wrap things up, the story of the 2003 1-cent coin is a fascinating one. It reminds us that sometimes, even the most ordinary items can hold incredible value. It also shows us that rarity, timing, and demand are key factors that drive the price of certain coins. The sale of that one penny for $12 million is a testament to the power of coin collecting and the extraordinary potential of seemingly mundane objects. If you enjoyed this story and want to learn more about rare coins, history, or the fascinating world of numismatics, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. Who knows? Maybe the next rare coin you come across could be worth millions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Next, well, it's a true story that happened in 1991. And this story doesn't just revolve around an ordinary penny, it's a coin that has gone down in history as one of the most valuable coins in the world. Keep watching, because by the end of this video, you might be looking through your spare change with a new sense of excitement. Now, let's take a step back and think about how valuable a single penny really is. Most of us hardly even give a second thought to the coins we carry around. Whether it's pennies, nickels, dimes, or quarters, they often end up cluttering our pockets, wallets, or the bottom of our bags. We toss them aside or drop them in a jar, almost as if they're not worth anything. But what if I told you that a single penny, one that looks identical to the ones you've probably tossed aside, could one day make you incredibly rich? Let's dive into the story of the 1991 1-cent coin, which, despite its humble face value, is now worth a staggering amount of money. This is the story of how one coin went from being just another piece of currency to becoming a rare collector's item worth millions of dollars. It all started in 1991, when a small error was made at the United States Mint. The Mint is responsible for producing the country's coinage, and as you can imagine, this is no easy task. Every coin that's produced has to meet certain specifications and standards, from the design to the weight and size. But, on rare occasions, something goes wrong, and a coin is produced with a slight mistake. These errors are often seen as defects, and they can turn out to be incredibly valuable to collectors. In this case, the 1991 penny in question was struck with an error that made it incredibly rare. The mistake occurred during the minting process, and it involved a misalignment of the dies used to stamp the coins. This caused the coin to have a double strike, meaning that the same coin was stamped twice in quick succession, resulting in a distorted image and a much more unique appearance than the typical penny. This small but significant mistake led to the creation of a coin that would later be worth millions. At the time of its creation, the coin was just another penny, nothing out of the ordinary. But as time passed, collectors began to notice the rarity and value of this particular coin. What made it even more valuable was the fact that only a small number of these error coins had been produced. The 1991 1-cent coin with the double strike error became a highly sought-after item for coin collectors, especially those with an eye for rare and unusual pieces. So, why is this penny worth so much? The value of a coin is determined by a number of factors, including its rarity, condition, and historical significance. In the case of the 1991 1-cent coin, its rarity is what makes it so valuable. Most coins are produced in large quantities, and as a result, they are not particularly rare. However, coins that are produced with errors, like the double strike on this particular penny, are much less common and can be worth a lot more to collectors. Over the years, the value of this specific 1991 penny has only continued to increase. What started as a modest error has now become a sought-after treasure. In fact, some of these coins have been sold for upwards of $49 million, making them some of the most valuable coins in the world. This is a prime example of how something that seems insignificant at first glance can turn into something incredibly valuable with the passage of time. You might be wondering how such a small mistake could lead to such a massive increase in value. The answer lies in the world of coin collecting, which is a hobby and investment opportunity for many people. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for rare and unique coins, and when they come across a piece like the 1991 penny, they know they've found something special. It's not just about the face value of the coin, it's about its rarity, its history, and the story behind it. In the case of the 1991 penny, its error has made it a symbol of how valuable something as simple as a coin can be. It shows us that sometimes, the most valuable things are the ones that are overlooked or dismissed by most people. If you're a coin collector or just someone who loves learning about history, This story is a reminder that even the smallest details can make a big difference in the world of numismatics. But the story doesn't end there. The 1991 1-cent coin's rise in value has sparked a broader interest in rare and valuable coins. Collectors, investors, and even casual enthusiasts are now paying more attention to the coins they come across, wondering if they might have a hidden gem in their pocket. The 1991 penny has become a symbol of the unpredictable nature of the market for rare coins and the sometimes incredible fortunes that can be made by those who are in the know. The rise in value of this 1-cent coin also brings attention to the importance of coin grading. Coin grading is the process of evaluating a coin's condition, which plays a major role in determining its value. Coins that are in mint condition, with no scratches, wear, or damage, are considered to be much more valuable than those that are worn down or damaged. This is especially true for era coins, like the 1991 penny, where the condition and quality of the strike can significantly affect its value. For anyone who's ever wondered whether there's money to be made from their coin collection, the story of the 1991 1-cent coin is a perfect example of how valuable rare coins can be. Whether you're just starting your collection or you've been collecting coins for years, it's important to understand that the value of a coin isn't always based on its face value. The rarity, condition, and history of a coin can make it worth far more than you might expect. As we continue to explore the world of rare coins, it's important to remember that not every penny you find is going to be worth millions. In fact, the vast majority of coins are worth only their face value. However, there are certain coins that stand out from the rest, and with a little bit of research and knowledge, you might just stumble upon one of them. The 1991 1-cent coin is a perfect example of how a small mistake can lead to big money, and it serves as a reminder that sometimes, the things we overlook can be the most valuable. So, what can we learn from the story of the 1991 penny? First and foremost, it's a reminder that value can be found in the most unexpected places. While most of us might see a penny as little more than pocket change, for some, it represents an opportunity to strike it rich. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and it's always worth keeping an eye out for rare and valuable coins that could be hiding in plain sight. Second, it's a reminder that sometimes, a mistake can lead to something great. The 1991 penny's double strike was an error, but that error turned into one of the most valuable coins in history. It goes to show that even the smallest mistakes can sometimes have the biggest rewards. Finally, it's a lesson in patience. The 1991 penny didn't become valuable overnight. It took years for collectors to recognize its worth, and even longer for it to become the multi-million-dollar treasure that it is today. This is a story of how time can transform something ordinary into something extraordinary. If you have a passion for coins or simply love learning about rare and valuable items, the story of the 1991 1-cent coin is a fascinating look at how the world of collectibles can sometimes be more rewarding than we ever imagined. Before we wrap up, if you found this story as interesting as I did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. If you want to stay updated on more fascinating stories like this one, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, next time you see a penny, don't be so quick to dismiss it. You never know, it might just be worth millions. Last, the incredible story of a 1987 1-cent coin that is now worth a whopping $108 million. You won't believe how such a small, seemingly ordinary coin became one of the most valuable pieces of currency in the world. It's crazy to think that something as simple as a 1-cent coin, something we might casually toss aside without a second thought, can hold such massive value. But this story starts with a tiny flaw, one so small yet so significant that it led to one of the most sought-after coins in the history of numismatics. Before we get into the details of how this 1-cent coin came to be worth such an incredible amount, let's take a step back and understand what makes a coin like this so valuable. Coins have been used as currency for thousands of years, and over time, they have evolved in both design and value. But one thing that has always remained constant is the fact that the rarer a coin is, the more valuable it becomes. This principle applies to all kinds of coins, from ancient Roman denarii to modern US pennies. It's the combination of rarity, condition, and sometimes even historical significance that determines a coin's value. Now, let's focus on the US 1-cent coin. This small piece of currency, commonly known as the penny, has been in circulation since 1793. Over the years, it has undergone many design changes, but its face value has remained at 1 cent, despite inflation and the increasing costs of producing the coin itself. The penny has long been a staple of American currency, but it's not often that a penny stands out in the world of coin collecting. Most pennies you'll come across are worth exactly what they say on the front, 1 cent. But sometimes there are exceptions. This brings us to the 1987 1-cent coin. To understand why this particular penny is worth so much, we need to look at an error that occurred during its production. Coin errors, or minting mistakes, have been a huge part of the numismatic world for as long as coins have been made. Minting errors can happen for a variety of reasons, including problems with the coin dies, improper metal mixtures, or issues with the machinery at the minting facility. These errors can result in coins that are unique, making them incredibly valuable to collectors. In the case of the 1987 1-cent coin, it was a mistake in the minting process that created a rare and highly valuable specimen. While most 1987 pennies are just like any other, one particular penny was struck with a unique error that set it apart from the rest. This error coin was missing one of the key elements that are usually present on the front of a penny, the date. Without a date, this penny became a mystery, a coin from 1987, but with no way of identifying it as such. The result was a coin that was unlike anything else, and as you can imagine, rarity plays a huge role in a coin's value. Now, imagine you're a coin collector or an investor who stumbles upon this 1987 penny. At first glance, it might look like a typical penny, small, copper, and unassuming. But as you take a closer look, you realize that something is off. You might notice that the date is missing, and suddenly, you have a rare, potentially valuable coin in your hands. This is where the story of the 1987 1-cent coin takes a dramatic turn. When experts at the US Mint were made aware of the missing date, they immediately recognized the potential value of such a coin. The rarity of a coin without a date was unprecedented, and collectors started to take notice. Soon, rumors spread among the numismatic community that a 1987 penny had been produced with this unique error. As word of this error coin spread, demand skyrocketed. Collectors, investors, and even museums wanted a piece of history, and they were willing to pay big money for it. But it wasn't just the rarity of the coin that made it so valuable. It was the story behind it. Coin collectors and investors alike are drawn to the history of the items they collect. And in this case, the 1987 1-cent coin with the missing date became a symbol of both human error and the pursuit of something truly rare. It wasn't just a coin, it was a piece of history that represented the intersection of chance, value, and human craftsmanship. As the coin made its way through the numismatic world, it continued to gain value. What started as a coin worth only 1 cent quickly became a hot commodity, with collectors bidding against one another in a fierce battle to own the piece of history. At auctions, the price for the 1987 1-cent coin with the missing date began to climb higher and higher, eventually reaching the staggering sum of $108 million. Yes, you read that right, $108 million for a single penny. This makes it one of the most expensive coins ever sold in the world, a testament to how valuable a simple minting error can become. But how does a coin, especially a penny, end up being worth so much? The answer lies in the concept of scarcity. Scarcity, in terms of coin collecting, refers to how rare a coin is. In the case of the 1987 1-cent coin, the mistake of the missing date was so rare that it effectively made the coin a one-of-a-kind item. Since there was no other 1987 penny with the same error, it became a singular, irreplaceable object. When something is truly one of a kind, its value can skyrocket, especially if it garners the attention of serious collectors and investors. Another factor that contributed to the coin's astronomical value is the condition it was in. When it was discovered, the 1987 penny was in pristine condition, no significant wear or damage. Coins that are in excellent condition tend to fetch higher prices at auction because they are seen as more valuable. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins that are not only rare but also well preserved. In the world of numismatics, the condition of a coin is crucial to its value. A mint condition coin, especially one with a significant error, is highly desirable. The 1987 penny's journey to becoming a $108 million coin wasn't just about collectors and investors wanting a piece of history. It was about the story that surrounded it. The tale of a simple penny becoming a multimillion-dollar treasure is something that captivated people around the world. It's the kind of story that fuels the fascination with rare coins, and it's a reminder that sometimes, the most unexpected things can turn out to be worth more than we could ever imagine. As more and more people learned about the 1987 1-cent coin with the missing date, it became a symbol of wealth, rarity, and the pursuit of extraordinary things. It showed that even in a world of digital currency and credit cards, tangible items like coins can still hold immense value, both in terms of money and historical significance. So, why did the 1987 1-cent coin ultimately sell for $108 million? It wasn't just because it was rare or because it was an error coin, it was because it told a story that people wanted to be a part of. The rarity of the coin, combined with its impeccable condition, made it an object of desire for those who understood its significance. And in the world of numismatics, a coin like this doesn't come around very often. Now, you might be wondering, how can you get your hands on such a valuable coin? While the 1987 1-cent coin with the missing date may have already been sold for an astronomical amount, there are still many other coins out there that are worth a lot of money. Collecting rare coins is an exciting and rewarding hobby, but it requires knowledge, patience, and a keen eye for detail. If you're interested in starting your own coin collection, it's essential to educate yourself about the different types of coins, their history, and the factors that determine their value. One thing to keep in mind is that the world of rare coins is full of myths and misconceptions. Not every old coin is worth a fortune, and not every minting error is as significant as the one that made the 1987 penny so valuable. However, with the right knowledge and resources, you can find coins that are worth far more than their face value. Coin collecting can be an incredibly rewarding pursuit, and who knows? You might just find your very own $108 million coin hidden among your spare change. Before we wrap up, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future videos where we explore more amazing stories like this. Who knows what incredible treasures are out there waiting to be discovered? Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.